Okay, this video is about healing from toxic, negative people. So, the essence of people that have hurt you, backstabbed you, betrayed you, lied about you, stolen from you, whatever the situation is, is very important to understand the principalities or the underlying subconscious darkness. So think about your enemy, think about the person or the people that have hurt you in your past that you're trying to heal from. You know them as adults, you know them as teenagers, whatever they are. But I want you to picture that person or those people that hurt you. I want you to picture yourself in the delivery room when they were first born. I want you to imagine the doctor handing them to you as a newborn baby. And I want you to see that when they were first born, they were pure, and that the world changed them, that their childhood made them who they are, that the world made them who they are. And to understand this even deeper, when it comes to people doing evil, lying, hurting, stealing, doing really dark things and being really dark, embodying the darkness, you have to understand that the principality of where and how that person got hurt and how it's been passed down, the pain, the assault, the violence, it came from someone else that did it to them at some point in their youth, or maybe even their adulthood, and it changed them. But to find the root cause of that pain, you could go all the way back through the human history, through the wars that people fought with swords, the wars that people fought with sticks and stones. Or you could even say that the original pain came from the original people, the Adam and Eve. You could say that the deception and the lies that created this avalanche of darkness and unconsciousness in the world came from a dark entity, a devil, a demon, the devil. You can pin it down to that, or you can pin it down to evolutionary history. But my point is that it was the world, it's the unconscious darkness that affected that baby, or that child, or that teenager, or that young adult, and it converted them. The darkness, the unconscious darkness got into them. Because when people get hurt, there's a sense of injustice, and it sits within people's chakras in their minds, in their heart, in their hearts, in their subconscious minds, and it sits there burning away that injustice, how they were mistreated, and something switches to almost a narcissistic trait where they become inverted and they become the predator of what they were a victim to. So what they do to protect themselves or to find their own justice is that they create their own victims to make them feel how they felt. So it's a kind of subconscious game of hot potato. So these people that have hurt you in your past or recently, it's important to understand that they're trying to heal. They're trying to pass it off. They're trying to find a way to remove that feeling inside of them, that deep pain that they've endured or they're trying to share it. They might even see someone innocent and unaware of how evil and dark the world can be, and they might see it as their duty or responsibility to make you wake up and feel that horror that they had to feel and endure. And this is coming from that same place of unconscious darkness, because they can't see the light or the way to heal themselves through their understanding, through their mind and heart. So they act in their subconscious. So a lot of these people that may have hurt you or someone you know or anything like that, they're acting out of a state of instinctive behavior, but it's an attempt for themselves to protect themselves, to heal or to avoid the pain that they have, or to pass it off to someone else in the hopes that either they'll get rid of it temporarily from the pleasure they get from having that power, or that they'll just have more people in the same boat as them, so they're not so alone in that pain and that darkness. So like I said, remember the little pure innocent child that they once were, and to understand that something came and changed them. So how can you hate them or want them to suffer more? Because if you do that, you're doing what they did, and it'll get into you, the unconscious darkness, the sickness of that. So it's very important to understand that the darkness that they did to you, the pain that they gave to you or tried to give to you, all of the things they tried to do, it was just an attempt in their subconscious to save themselves or to avoid their own suffering. And that if you can see it as an energy and a darkness, an unconscious darkness, a dark force, then it's easier to let go of pinning it on them as a person, and to understand and see that it's an energy that travels through generations, to nip it in the butt and cut it off, and not let you become the next one that wants to give it back to them, or to pass it to someone else. You have to alchemize it by understanding the reality of it and why they came for your light and truth and peace and energy. Is only because they're desperate, because they're insecure, that they don't know what to do. They don't know that's the only thing they know to do, and it's coming from the subconscious. If you want to heal from trauma and pain that other people have caused you, you have to use your conscious light to decimate the darkness, the unconsciousness. You can only alchemize the pain and the suffering that others have bestowed upon you by using and illuminating your light and using your consciousness to understand the situation. How can you hate unconscious shadow? There's nothing to target. All you have to do is see that darkness, that pain, that unconsciousness is just confusion acting out in the physical. So you can forgive the people that have hurt you in the past, because they were victims of that dark unconsciousness, And you're not alone in dealing with these dark energies that have passed through different people and made it to your doorstep, to your energy. But you can alchemize it with understanding and love. So you have to love the innocent beings that they once were and see how they've been corrupted through lines and generational chains of energy, of fear and pain and suffering and confusion. The more that you can understand and give it to peace and illuminate your own consciousness and understanding the behavior of the unconsciousness, the more you can be liberated from that pain that was bestowed upon you, that hurt, that suffering. Once you release that darkness, it will no longer fester inside of you because you're using your conscious light to draw it out. It will not be able to stay in your auric field, in your body, in your heart, in your mind, because you're suffering from when they hurt you. You'll say to yourself, how could they do that? Why would they hurt me? I don't understand. Why did this happen to me? That's that darkness inside you sitting in, because it's the confusion. So you have to release the confusion with understanding. And that simply is the quickest way to get there, is to see that the worst person that you can imagine was once a pure, innocent baby, freshly born into this world. There is no baby that's born with horns and a tail. It creeps in through confusion and unconscious behavior and pain and suffering and violence and neglect. So your job to heal is to understand that when you see the people that have hurt you, that you see that dark shadow, that unconsciousness, that it actually is all around us in the world, and that we all have to try to alchemize and bear it and heal it and regenerate and reflect and understand it and shine our light of consciousness to it. When you realize that a lot of people, we're all suffering the same unconscious darkness that has been found us through people, you're not alone, and that you have people out there that are looking to heal and that have healed, and there are a lot of masters and healers and people that have alchemized that suffering and that shadow and illuminated through healing. That's why it's so good and important to have healers, therapists, psychologists. They all using the same tools of illuminating the consciousness to understand the shadow of the unconscious. So it's a very good beginning point to start at, to understand that you're not specifically pinpointing one person that hurt you as where it started and where it should end, because you have to understand that they carried it forth from somewhere and someone passed it, and it goes back generations in time, from like I said, from the Viking era, from the era of people getting their villages raided, these trauma, this bond, this unconscious pain, the suffering that gets passed down. So to end the only way to end those dark unconscious rivers of suffering through people and generations is to, when it gets to you, is to alchemize it into light through understanding. And that's where love is so powerful, because you're not loving the person, the monster that they've become. You're loving the innocent being that they once were, and understanding that hate came from somewhere else, and it infected them, and it infected their heart and their mind and their soul. But they can alchemize it as well. But it's not your job to save them. It's your job to alchemize that energy that they sent to you, that they tried to install on your hard drive and your software. So alchemize through love and understanding, and illuminate the truth that it's all a game of hot potato, and your illumination, your understanding is the oven mitts. You can hold that hot potato now, because you can let it cool down, and it's now it's something useful, because it's knowledge, it's understanding, it's experience. And now with that pain and that darkness that someone else gave to you, you've now alchemized it into wisdom, and now you can help other people that have gone through it to understand and alchemize that shadow into light. Thank you. I hope that helped.